Good morning, friends. It's Bob again. We're exploring the themes of forgiving and forgiveness. And I want to continue with what I was talking about yesterday with when we actually forgive, that there's a sense in which I think we expect there to be this giant aha moment, this giant release, and it ends up being something much more subtle than that, not less powerful, but just more subtle than that. And here's how I describe it a lot of times when I'm helping people do this, is that I would say that here's ground, here's level ground, and this is all air and everything. But forgiveness kind of puts us, down here subterranean. And what ends up happening is that bitterness takes you down here, unforgiveness takes you down here, and so you're below ground. And so when you forgive, and so making good choices is hard because it's so informed by all of this root system that's underneath here. But when you forgive, you come up to back to level ground. And by being at level ground, now you have more freedom to make good choices. Now the choices that you had such a hard time sticking actually have a lot more oomph to them, that you're able to now make these kinds of changes that you were not able to because you had all this resistance coming from subterranean, bitterness, resentment, unforgiveness. You had all of this stuff going on there, but now that you've forgiven, it's brought you back up to ground zero. That doesn't mean that you have all of a sudden started making good choices. It means that now you have the freedom to make better choices that are not informed, that are not polluted, that are not somehow tainted by the unforgiveness that's inside of you. So now you have a choice, but you have to start making good choices on the top side of forgiving, or else you just continue to stay the same. So forgiving actually places you into a place where now your will and your choices can be much more informed by grace, by the Holy Spirit, instead of by bitterness and resentment. And when you do that, now you're starting to free up, to begin to change and to begin to transform, and God begins to work in mysteriously more poignant ways. But it is this idea that forgiving brings you up to ground zero, so that then you can make good choices instead of having to push through this slugging it through because of the unforgiveness that's still within you. Now you've forgiven, the unforgiveness is no longer causing your feet to get all bogged down. So now you have a choice, and you've always had the choice, but the choice was not resisted by the bitterness and unforgiveness inside of you. I hope that makes sense to you. But I've watched this happen over and over again. I've seen it happen within myself as well, that when I forgive, I now have much more power with my will, much more spirit energized power of will to be able to make good choices, and those choices to stick. So as part of the reason, as part of the dynamic of forgiving and forgiveness, I want to call you to continue to move into this arena, and also to share this with people that you know of that are struggling with some of these things. All of us know people that are bogged down in bitterness and resentment. And so I want to ask you to share these different things, these posts that I'm doing, the messages that I'm doing on Sunday morning, what God is doing in your life, and share those things with people that God has put you in their lives, because that's part of the reason why He put you there, is to influence them for His sake. I love you. Thanks so much for joining me. God bless you.